You have a girl who naively believes that the truth will set her free.
In early January, what's being called Italy's trial of the century begins.
Amanda, in her childlike innocence, believes with her whole heart, I didn't do anything. Why am I here?
Amanda Knox is here, prosecutors have told the 6 jurors, because she, Raffaele Sollecito, and now convicted murderer Rudy Guede together sexually assaulted and then murdered Meredith Kircher.
The perception is that it's a satanic ritualistic murder, and that's what the public believes it to be. That's what these jurors probably believe it to be.
Chicago private investigator Paul Ciolino, a 48 Hours consultant, has been investigating this case for more than a year.
So who murdered Meredith Kircher?
Rudy Guede broke into her home. He raped her. He robbed her. He cut her throat, and then eventually departed the country the next day, and he left a trail of physical evidence. As soon as they got some fingerprints back, they had him. Top to bottom, that's the case.
But prosecutor Giuliano Menini says he has witnesses and solid physical evidence proving that Amanda and Raffaele are guilty. Journalist Nick Pisa.
And that's the crux of this case, that all 3 of them were at the scene, all 3 of them were involved in the murder of Meredith Kircher.
Is this the murder weapon? Prosecutor Menini says yes, but it wasn't found at the crime scene. It was discovered days later at Raffaele's apartment.
It's a 30-centimetre kitchen knife, the sort of kitchen knife that you or I or anyone would have in their kitchen.
Investigators couldn't find any blood on it, but they say they did find DNA. Amanda's on the handle and possible trace amounts of Meredith's on the blade.
They're saying that the wounds on Meredith's throat are compatible with having been made by a knife of this type.
But something doesn't add up. Police determined that a bloody knife left 2 faint impressions on Meredith's bed. Police then drew outlines of those impressions. But when the knife from Raffaele's kitchen is compared to those outlines, it doesn't match.
That's the knife they want you to believe is the murder weapon, but it's not the murder weapon. It doesn't fit the outline on the sheets. If it was the murder weapon, it would fit the outline if it was used in the murder.
So if the knife doesn't fit,
you must acquit.
But the prosecution says there is more. They say they have solid DNA evidence putting Raffaele in Meredith's room. Evidence found on a piece of Meredith's clothing.
The house is searched again by the forensic team, and this bra clasp is found in the bedroom.
A bra clasp ripped from Meredith's bra and discovered near her body. On it, investigators say, is Raffaele's DNA. 48 Hours obtained videotapes shot by Italian police of crime scene investigators in the house. We asked forensic scientist Dr. Larry Kobolinski of John Jay College to analyze their work.
It's very crucial that everything be done the right way. That's why we have procedures and protocols.
Kobolinski says those procedures and protocols were not followed when it came to that bra clasp. Incredibly, it was left on the floor by the CSI team, even though they videotaped it.
There's the hook on the floor.
There it is right here.
Somehow, this was not collected at the time.
Big mistake. Should have been collected.
6 weeks later, investigators return to the murder scene, and here's video of them picking up that bra hook.
The bra clasp was then tested, and prosecutors say they found Raffaele's DNA on it. But Kobolinski says it was not properly handled.
There are mistakes that have been made. It should have been picked up right at the first time the crime scene team was there collecting evidence. The fact that it wasn't picked up means that we can now question whether it was controlled or not.
And when it was finally collected,
we have people handling the item. It's placed on the ground. It's then picked up. No instruments are used to handle the object. There could be a transfer of evidence, transfer of DNA, for example, onto that item by any of those individuals. And so this was just not handled properly.
Would you be comfortable confident, if your life was on the line, that this evidence is reliable?
I would not want to have my life threatened based upon an item of evidence that was collected 6 weeks after the event occurred, where the chain of custody was broken and the reliability is in question.
And then there is the prosecution's star witness.
Io ho sentito un gran grido.
A scream in the night, then the sound of running. That's what Nara Kapatzali said she heard from her apartment across the street from the crime scene on the night of the murder. She told her story to Italian television a few days later.
Tre cose diverse, uno anda su, uno anda là.
Prosecutors are relying on Nara's testimony to convince the jury that 3 people ran away from the crime scene. Ciolino wanted to see or hear for himself.
Christine, I'm Paul. I'm from Chicago. Are you really?
Nara's upstairs neighbor let Paul into her apartment to find out what he could hear.
So we're looking directly on top of the house where the homicide happened.
Okay, you ready outside?
We've got a bunch of kids, local kids we got to do some running to see if we could hear them running.
We've now closed the window, which we believe was the situation that night because it was a very cold night. And let's see what they can hear. You guys ready to go?
3, 2, 1, go.
Right now I hear something.
What did you hear?
I heard something, but I couldn't tell if it was footsteps. Did you hear anything?
No.
At the very least, our unscientific test raises questions about what Nara could have heard that night. And under cross-examination, Nara said she couldn't even be sure of the date of the scream.
Nora has no credibility. She don't know what she heard or saw. Well, they don't have a credible witness in this case. This is part of the problem. This is why I am so agitated.
But the prosecution says the case is solid, still insisting DNA puts Raffaele and Amanda in the room, and that several witnesses put the couple together with Rudy Gaudet. But Ciolino says the 3 didn't even know each other.
Tell me about the text messages between the 3 of them, the cell phone records between the 3 of them, the emails between the 3 of them.
We got everybody's phone records. They all have phones. All right, let's see how many times they called each other, setting up the sex game, the orgy, the night of sex and satanic rituals. Big zero, nothing. Nothing exists. There is no evidence that these 3 knew each other. They don't travel in the same circles. They're not buddies. It just didn't happen.
But this is Italy, and prosecutor Giuliano Manini has his case.
I'll probably get indicted in Italy for saying this. I don't care. He is ruining the 2 lives of 2 kids who have done nothing. Are they guilty of participating in a murder? No. Planning a murder? No. Being at a murder? No. They're not guilty of anything. Nothing.